breed horses, and very exciting moment, the very first video of the Mouronte Project, which is our brand new YouTube channel for the restoration of this amazing place. So this video is going to be shared on both channels. For Live and Breathe Horses people, I hope you're interested in our new home. If you want any more background of how and why we got here, or what made us move here, and what was involved in all of that, you can come over to Patreon for all that stuff. Here today, we're just going to show you around, have a little tour, and welcome you to this amazing heritage project and beautiful old building. I'm standing at the doors of the main courtyard, and as you can see above me, it says 1848. So that's when this entrance was built, and this side of the building, the original house here is actually from more than 500 years ago. I think it was originally built here. It's a lot to do with the rocks, which is a big vein of quartz which passes very close here, right on our border. And that's really interesting if it was something to do with that. And then in 1777, the chapel was built. So there was the main house and the chapel. And they did a big reform on the house at that time and added the chapel. And then in 1848, they closed in the courtyard. So we'll go through into the courtyard and have a look around. This is a lovely feature, this old, I mean, they still make new versions of this, but not solid. And of course, the aged look of it is just beautiful. So I have been doing a lot of cleaning around here. It was absolutely full to the gunnels of stuff, all kinds of different kinds of rubbish and stuff, which I have been for the last 2.5 months spending all day every day clearing out. So we do have a little bit of clear space. This entrance is a very special little place. It gets afternoon sun. Although we're not ready really to receive guests yet, we can start to do meditations in here even in the winter because we're out of the weather. Like I said, it gets evening sun. We're just gathering some firewood there, some laurel leaves, and yeah, I mean, there's just so much. I don't want to make the video too long, but for example, as we're just walking past here, this pillar being one whole piece of stone in itself is quite an amazing feature. I mean, all the walls are absolute works of art, and although the roofs all need doing, the walls are sound. They're all solid and strong, and like I say, real works of art. They were hidden under brambles and ivy, and this corner you're looking at right now was full to the top of gorse, which they used to feed to the animals when they had nothing else. And it had probably been there for about 80 years. So it was 6 huge trailer loads to get rid of all that. And that's just a little start. Our chapel, which is very beautiful, we will do another video specifically about the chapel and show you inside. It has this lovely rose, which we've pruned back drastically because it was really wild and growing right up through the bell tower and the bell didn't ring. It's now free to toll. Shall we just toll the bell as we're here and say hello to San Pedro? It's the chapel of San Pedro. And actually on the bell says 1779, and here on the wall you can see it says 1777. And there's some writing up here, which we still can't make out the top line or understand what it says. The lower bit says, Matias Ares Mouronte As Costa Año 1777, which I assume means built in 1777. So we also need something for the little alcove. I don't know what was in there originally. I have measured it, so the day I come across the right thing, hopefully I'll just see it and know that's what should be in there. Has to be something beautiful and in keeping with the chapel. and for me not necessarily something Catholic. The chapel is the heart of Mouronte and also is going to be the start of our project because it's the only part of the buildings that the roofs don't leak. So the guy who sold to me repaired the roof because the water was actually coming in. So it's had a very rough repair done, does need the roof doing properly, and the inside is just derelict and filthy, although it does have its original saints. So we've set up a GoFundMe and we've already reached over €1,000, which is amazing and enough to get started on the clean-up preservation of the contents inside. So that's very exciting, and any contributions are very well received and really, really appreciated, however big or small. So watch this space for more news about our chapel. Also in the courtyard, because this was completely full of brambles and ivy, you really couldn't see anything. And what appeared from behind was these two lovely old stone troughs, which we cleaned out. The round one there in the corner and this big square one, which we cleaned out, and we've put in some water hyacinths just to keep the water clean so it doesn't go all green. And this was already here, so in the old days they would have used this for sharpening tools. So they, you know, take some water and sharpen. So there, and this is another sharpening stone. We found so many tools and things here that really shows how the working life of this place was. And inside this side of the courtyard, the one-storey building, which is my next after the chapel, I hope to get a little apartment in there, a place where people can stay and sleep, and we can have volunteers to help with the work. We can have guests come and stay. And for the moment, I got here and thought, oh no, I need to buy some straw for the horses and their shelter. And this was actually full of straw. So I've been using it up. It's less full of straw now, but at some point when we get it all cleaned out, the roof isn't too bad, and I keep thinking maybe we can get away with patching it and using it. But of course it's the most crazy thing to do, spend money doing the interior if the roof's not right. So we need to get some more professional opinions, you know. Of course everybody's got opinions, and we've had several very varying opinions on it so far. So let's see how that goes. And this has been an old abandoned kitchen here, which is going to be the bathroom and toilet. Bathroom for the apartment and toilet. So this roof is really bad. As you can see, there's a whole beam fallen down there. But yeah, that's where I hope to make the bathroom. The first thing we need to do is get in a septic tank, because we're not on main sewage. So that's a big expense before we even start. And this is just a collection of stuff I didn't want to throw away, which a lot of it was buried in the entrance where we've just come from. There's an old wooden plough, and these are the old wooden soled shoes, and maybe at some point it just all needs chucked away, but it was just things that I thought should be kept for now at least. And this is a very typical feature of all these Galician Pazos, which is a big property, and it's actually for wine. I thought it was some kind of tank for diesel for the tractors, but they all have these big, this unfortunately is a rather ugly one. So I would like to just get rid of that actually, but at the moment it's just staying there. Don't know what to do with it. It's holding some cuttings of the chapel rose, so hopefully we can replant them. And then over this corner here, we have the gate through to what I call the secret garden, which is really beautiful and has some amazing special features. I think we better leave that for another video, or we're going to be here all day with this one. This is where they used to keep the bulls, because Mouronte in its past had the bulls, and then all the local people around would bring their cows to be covered. So this apparently was where they used to keep the bulls. It might be a bit dark in here actually. Should have brought the torch, shouldn't I? It's actually quite a big space inside there, and this I want to make into a treatment room and recording studio, all in one space. And there I'd love to make a little bathroom, and this little room on this side I'd like to make the sort of reception office, because there is, I don't know if you can see bricks at the end there, it goes through to the main house. It should. They've built a grain store there, which I want to have demolished because it's not part of the original building. But that's a great place to have a little reception. And my intention here is to keep everything as original as possible. So even doors that are very broken looking, they just fit in with the character of the place. That other side is there, that's a double. That was originally what they call the caserío. So the people who worked here lived upstairs and the animals lived downstairs. But maybe we should go and look in the main house first. Let's go upstairs first. So this is the grain store thing, brick built, that I was saying from the other side. That needs to go because that's not part of the original building. And even these steps are beautiful. Look, each one is a whole piece of stone, apart from that one. So a very curious little window here that people know about original buildings. They say, why was that there? They think it was something, and it's got a little, it's the only window that size and shape, and it's got a metal shutter. So at some time, if people used to come here and pay taxes and they paid through that window, we don't really know. Here from this balcony, so it's a bit of a mess. I've got these things here just to take the rain off because there's a leak in the roof right there. We cleaned all the rubbish off of here, which was a lot. And just some things I didn't want to throw away are here. In fact, could be a whole other video. This chest is full of papers that I found and I just didn't want to throw away. Some of them dating back to the 1800s, a lot of stuff from the Civil War time, some stuff from the 60s, 70s, which of course in Spain was still Franco's time. Look, that little receipt there from 1943. There's a plan of the land, letters. This, sometime in the winter when the weather's too bad to do anything else, might be to sit and go through it. It all seems to, what I've looked at, be in Spanish, not in Galician language, which is good because that means I can understand the language. That basket was for taking the chickens to market. And the funny windmill thing, something to do with wool. Found that over in the other house with the wool. And just random stuff on the shelf. They just, I don't know, threw so much stuff away. There was so much rubbish, but obviously some things you don't want to throw away. This old saddle, so this must be copper. At first I thought it was turquoise, but it's just copper gone green. Don't know how old that is. The stirrups are very funny because the soles of the stirrups are wooden. They're very woodwormy and worn away, but it looks like somebody's just tied some kind of pair of sandals onto the end of the saddle, but I'm thinking that's how they were. Also found a bridle in a trunk somewhere. It's all within an inch of completely disintegrating, but like I say, in the cold winter days, good time to maybe spend some time restoring it. So let's go inside. The upstairs here is going to be all accommodation area at some point, hopefully. And like I said, I've got rid of all the rubbish. That cupboard has to go because it kind of doesn't fit in the style of Mouronte at all. This one probably keeping. We've had many skips, loads of stuff taken away, and I've got one more order to take away unwanted furniture, including this really ugly unit against that far wall over there. So this was the dining room, the grand posh part of the house. As you can see, there's a bit of water damage all over the walls. Roof's not too bad here, but all the roofs actually do need some attention. Some much more than others. That through there, that's actually there's no bathroom, there's no plumbing or water in this house, even though somebody was living here a year and a half ago, believe it or not. I don't know up to what point they were using that as the bathroom, but it was shown to me as the bathroom. And I mean, these doors, this is the good thing about it being abandoned and not looked after, was that also there's a lot of original features left. Like this door is quite a work of art in itself. And I mean, just to clean it and almost leave it as it is. I don't know if you want to strip it back. Maybe just leave it exactly how it is. The same on the windows. We've got the window shutters there. And there is actually a secret of Mouronte, which when I came here, everybody talked about the secret hiding place. But maybe we should save that for another video. Otherwise, this one's going to keep going on and on. And then we go through, we've got more bedrooms. So this is why I've ordered another skip, so we can get rid of, maybe there's 1 or 2 beds we can keep, but in general, they're all for throwing away. I've tackled them all and got rid of all the mattresses and bedding except this one, which is extra disgusting. And this room was completely dark because that window was covered with brambles. Really, not the undergrowth, overgrowth, outer growth, whatever, was right up past the second floor windows on this part of the house. So you really couldn't see anything in here. Which was another reason I haven't cleaned this one out as much as the rest. I don't know if any of these old trunks are savable. You know, they're just, there's a lot of old travel trunks here. Like I say, I've been through and cleaned most out what could be saved out of them. Maybe that wooden one can be saved. These ones, I don't know. The history of this house was also between here and Buenos Aires a lot, and actually still was. And of course, because of the button, I thought that was a funny old coin. So they would have been travel chests. That one with the documents was definitely a travel chest. So the floor's particularly bad on this bit here. I've got all the windows open, just trying to air it off because it was so damp in here, with no air having got in for decades, I think. This doorway's actually a little bit low, but in general, the blessing here is how high the ceilings are for an old house, which is great. So we've got that where we've just come from. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bedrooms, a lot of them interconnecting. So we need to clear our plan how we're going to make this into the accommodation. This is a nice, interesting feature. In its day, would have been very modern ensuite bathroom sort of thing. So I guess they would have had a stand with a jug of water and then they could pour it out. The spout on the outside of the house is also rather lovely. And through here is the worst part of the house, where it actually rains inside. So I'm hoping to get the rest of the furniture out of here into the skips ordered for next Friday. So I want to get rid of all the stuff in here. And you know, it's trying to discover how it was. You can see over in that corner, there's some designs in blue on the wall. So it'd be lovely to try and recreate things like that, how it looked. And there's still, this is the one bit of the house outside that window there that I haven't completely cleared outside because there's 2 quite big old trees that I really didn't want to cut down. But I've asked many different people, and builders, architects, all kinds of different people, and everybody said the same thing, they have to go. Well, that's rather sad. And there's no attic above this part because it's where the roof is coming down. So, like I say, this is the worst bit. I would really love to be able to get this bit of roof sealed before winter. Although it's been leaking for decades and decades, there's going to be some point that's the breaking point, isn't there? That the beams just give way, and but it's now being halfway through October, unlikely that's going to be able to get done. And that iron bed, I've got an idea to put that outside somewhere under a tree. There's lots of lovely spots outside. So magical and peaceful. If you ever want to have some inner peace or learn meditation, ideal place to do it because it just lulls you into that with its own soul. So yeah, these funny cupboards here, built-in cupboards, which I guess in the time they were built, I don't know if these are from the very early days, original house, or were done when they did the reforms in the 1700s. But it was probably very fancy back then to have these built-in cupboards. And actually, they're really beautiful bits of wood. That door's broken, but the one on the other side not. And you see the lifting around the edges. And then through here, back to where we started, through here is the stairs up to the attic. So you can actually get up there and you can walk along, because this dividing wall, you can go along there, so you can actually move around in the attic. And that's the other side of the same cupboard. I was convinced that the secret place was in between these cupboards. It just seemed like an easy place to do it. And I don't think it is. Well, I know where it is, but I still think there might be another one. I'm still waiting to find the secret place where the gold's hidden, or the treasure for the money to do up the roofs. Of course, buying this place is one thing, but it's a bit of a black hole. You could spend millions getting it done. And so why did I buy it without the millions to be able to do it? It's a whole other, much more personal story, which, like I say, over on Patreon. But yeah, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe when we're doing this up, there will be something in there. Full of bottles of cider, very gone off. Alba and I actually did decide to try one. Wasn't very nice. So, yeah, back out onto the balcony. And we'll just look at an interesting point from the roof. Well, I mean, starting walking out here, this giant stone, it's quite amazing that the floor's made of one giant rock. And the roofs, I was very thinking, why have they patched all the roofs up with tiles? So in Galicia, originally the roofs were made of these stone, slate kind of roofs. And in other parts of Galicia, they were tiled. And we're right on the border between the two techniques. So the entrance roof especially is still quite original. And that's actually how they were built. I've been told now by 3 different independent people who know about history of Galicia, one architect, one constructor, and one historian, that actually know that's how they're meant to be. So that's quite a relief, because to restore them back to the stone is much more complicated, because of course it's very heavy. To find all these old stones from derelict buildings, it's not so easy. And any new imitation stuff would just clash really badly. So to do it like it was, half tile, half stone, it's quite unique really, and I quite like the idea that we're in the crossing place between techniques. Yeah, and I love this balcony, really quite a special place. These original doors. So we'll need to go and get a torch to check out downstairs, because downstairs is where the animals lived, so there wasn't any windows, just little slit windows, which I forget what you call them. They're called, I think, bufatas in Spanish, but I'm not sure what you call them in English. And this is actually the modern kitchen. It's a bit echoey, which I thought was like from the 1930s, but apparently this was built in the 70s. And it's got, that furniture's also going out on the next skip. Just sitting on it is the last of the stuff I emptied out. I haven't got around to throwing away. And this stove, like Rayburn-style stove, are in all the houses in Galicia. And in this area, they're not set in the wall, they're in the centre, which is very nice and much more sensible from a heat point of view. So you can sit around it as well as cooking on it. And the chimney goes from there under the bench, and there's a little metal thing in the wall, and then it goes up through the wall. So apparently, according to people, I've had so many stories, we're going to be going on the Mouronte channel telling all these stories. I have been told that they never used this kitchen, that they just kept on using the old kitchen, which is through here. Shall we get a torch and go through to the old kitchen? So when I saw this, when I looked at the property, I thought, oh my God, this has been from hundreds of years ago. But believe it or not, 2 years ago, they were still sitting in here using this. And the family, apparently, who last lived here, used this rather than the modern kitchen. So this is a very typical style Galician kitchen with the fire in the middle, the old benches, and this arm which moves across. So you have your pot and you can move it on top of the fire. And that's actually outside. You can see the wood from the outside. And there's also a sink here, which was probably very modern in its day, a bit like upstairs, where they could put water out. And then so as you can see, everything here is completely black. These are some things they make from straw and with pig grease. And there's more over here, which they say they hung up to smoke it, so it was preserved. And 2 different people have told me that these ones with the basket, it was about keeping evil spirits away. It was a bit of a pagan thing, that's why they're there, so I don't know. Still investigating. And I've cleared so much rubbish out of here. Unbelievable. Even just this wooden box, which was for keeping food or bread or both, was piled high with sacks. It's like they always kept everything. This wall here, as you can see, is brick, so not part of the original house. So I'm really keen to get a demolition and get that grain store down from the entrance and get rid of that brick wall. And this larder here, which one of the people who, of course, all the locals are so curious who I am and what I'm doing here, and they come round, and some of them love to tell everything. And somebody actually told me that this was where they kept, they didn't want to say the word slaves, but when I said, is that what they meant? They said yes, that they would have slept in there, but I really don't think that's true. I think it was a larder for keeping the pigs and things. So whether this is ever possible to clean or not, I don't know. But this is going to be the heart of the retreat centre with the fire here. We are this winter going to light a fire in here and just have a little event with a few locals just to put some life back into it. And you see, there's no chimney. And these roofs were built in a way, you can see if I take my torch down, that there's daylight coming through the roof, so that smoke could get out but water wouldn't come in. And I have been told that it's a beautiful sight when you see these kitchens and then the smoke all rising out the roof of the house. So we are going to try that out. Hopefully we can also get a video on it. Of course, when I keep mentioning more videos, I'm talking about on the Mouronte channel. We won't be doing more videos on Live and Breathe Horses. This is just today. It's a double up because Live and Breathe Horses, it's a bit also welcome to our new home, and this is a lot of our new home. Talking of horses, let's go through to the stables. Oh, well, actually, this is the pig stables. So, as you can see, this is breeze block, so this is much newer. The cobwebs in the roof. And there actually wasn't anything in there apart from one little wooden feeder thing which is sitting at the door, which I think is maybe savable. That one. I found a lot of them that are completely rotten. And even some of the rotten ones, they're just such beautiful ancient bits of wood. They can just be sat up as a work of art or used as a little shelf, or, you know, obviously they're not any use anymore for animals. Nice old original doors still down here. And this, these little hollows in the wall. I mean, that one, for example, especially, I had a whole wheelie bin full of rubbish you wouldn't believe was packed into that space. So, yeah, this is going to be the warm heart of the retreat centre. And through here, I was like, that my dream here is to make the spa. So, just watch where you're stepping, Alba. This was obviously the stables. I have been taking bits of wood out of here to use for things. And this thing over here is where they would have salted the pig. I don't know if they kept it in there once it was salted or if it was just used to salt the meat. But it's actually an amazing thing because it's a whole hollowed out tree. It's one piece of wood, which is rather beautiful. And then this pot sitting here in the corner, which I haven't moved, because a few people have said it's really, really ancient. And it's just sitting here with its cobwebs, and I don't really know. Maybe it needs a specialist to look at it, but it's just been left there as is for now, with the skeletons of the spiders. See? It was so cold and damp and dark in here. Even the spiders had given up living in here. Look, never seen spider skeletons before. And of course, all these little slit windows were completely blocked with a combination of straw and sacks and old trousers and anything they could find. So I have opened now all the openings, and there are little videos of all of that over on our Mouronte Galicia Mouronte Project Instagram. because we've had that going a bit longer than we've managed to get the YouTube up and going. So there's a nice old wooden trough in that stable there. And then there's 2 more rooms through here. Here there's, under that, there's some old barrels. So it's a bit of a thing, because I thought, oh, that'd be lovely out in the courtyard to use as tables, you know, if we do an event with the chapel. But I think you can't take these, if you put them out in the sun, they would just dry out and they would disintegrate. I think they need to be kept in here. And this again is a whole hollowed out tree trunk, which would have been a manger for the animals. So, another little breath of air to the outside. And there's gorse there. You see, a lot of the windows were also blocked up with that. Look, there's a horseshoe in the wall there. I don't know if that was for tying something up or holding something together. Is that another horseshoe up there? I'm still discovering things when I come down here. And of course, these beams are solid chestnut. So even though they look a bit woodwormy on the outside, people keep saying, oh, but they'll be fine in the middle. So I don't know how many of them are. It needs to be poked. See, that one is obviously a bit rotten there, but it could still be fine in the middle. And because they're so huge, they might well still be usable. And then last of all, down here, another room through here with a lovely old box. And interestingly here, I have not found out why, the 2 windows are vertical rather than horizontal. And we're actually just, I'm going to take my torch down, just at the right time of day. There's quite a lot of light coming through that one. It's quite nice. Spare wheel from a cart over there. Very broken wooden box. And this one I think would have been for the grain for the animals. It's very thick, solid wood. I think that one is hopefully able to restore. And everything like that's restored will be left in here as to be used and as features. So welcome to the Mouronte Spa, which will be part of the relax retreat experience. It'll be the kind of spa with relaxation things, not the kind to get beauty treatments or get your nails done or your eyebrows plucked or have Botox. It'll be purely like relaxation. So there has at some point been an attempt to put electricity in here. There's a few hanging cables, but I'm thinking here we're probably not going to. We'll just have candles and like the little rechargeable lights and things like that. Of course, it's a whole other challenge, water and electricity in a building like this. Or you make a feature of it and get beautiful copper pipes that just go over the walls, and you make a feature. So you can see here the other staircase, where I was saying it went up to the attic. This is wooden, this one here, but it's in quite okay condition. In the attic here, it's quite different. There's a big hole in the floor, but I have taken 2 sacks of rubbish out of that corner, but look what's still there is shoes. I think I found about 3 wheelie bins full of shoes. I mean, I didn't find the wheelie bin, obviously I filled 3 wheelie bins with shoes. Everywhere here, shoes. Under every bed was shoes, in every corner is shoes. And I did see in all the paperwork, this staircase and this wood's all still in quite good condition going up to the attic. And this wall is made from cane and mud, which is quite a work of art on its own, again, to be preserved and left as it is. So yes, I think I did a video on Instagram saying that's the last of the shoes, and now I'm realising it's not. There's still a few more shoes in here, and there's even more around the corner there. So yeah, you can see the bottom of the stairs going up. This wood's all quite nice and solid here in general. It is quite an experience to get up into the attic, but we won't go there today. So that's the main house. Let's go over and take a look at what was the workers' house and the stables. So over here is the oven room, actually. Well, I don't know, they didn't call it the oven room. I'm calling it the oven room because here is, I got my torch on, the oven, which was, of course, a very important feature of all these houses. And Still, the roof's quite badly damaged here, so we won't be able to try the oven out till we do a bit of repair on the roof there. But it's all in quite good condition inside. No buried treasure so far in there. And this space I've just been using to keep, it was also packed to the gunnels of old tyres and plastic and rubbish and cupboards. And I've been collecting all the stuff I didn't want to throw away and just putting it here. So it's turned into a bit of a museum. I think we need a whole separate video to explain about all the stuff in the museum. As you can see, there's quite a lot of stuff, which some of it's old and interesting, some of it's maybe rubbish, but I just couldn't bear to throw it all away. Bit of an ugly big electric box. So going through here, this part of the building I want to make into the family house for my family to come and visit. Originally, the workers lived upstairs and the animals were here downstairs. There's a beautiful big old trough here. Not trough, sorry. Yeah, feed bin, some kind of... you sound like, well, the first time you open these things with trepidation of like, oh my God, what's going to be in it? Just some very ancient feed. More spider skeletons. No. I've found a few weird things. We maybe need a whole video about weird things we found in Mouronte. There's another one of these kitchen things there. Some old stones that are possibly something very interesting. And another barrel here, another wooden trough. I don't know if we take them out, if the whole staircase is going to collapse. And through here was more stables. There's a stable on that side. That's another new version of the wine thing that I've just don't know what to do with it really. Nice little wooden trough in here. And through here is where they kept the cows. Actually, we should have come from the other side and maybe opened the door. Light in here. I think I can't open it now because of... So here's where they last had the cows for milking. Not a very nice life if they just stayed in here all the time. I don't know if they came in for milking and lived out in the field. You kind of hope they did. And there's actually 3 windows here, and there's another door that goes out to the courtyard there as well. These floors in between down and up are in really bad condition. But most of them are going to go. Because part of this, I'm going to maybe make platform bits at either end, but I think a good bit of this is going to be full height all the way up and leave it open. And of course it's a protected building, so you can't change anything, as in make bigger windows or anything like that. And you wouldn't want to. I really want to leave it as it is. But from what I found out so far, I would be allowed to make glass panels in the roof, which should be great to let some light in. Do we dare go up the stairs? Shall we go? And we will actually do a video from the footage of the first time we went up here, where we were literally going through cobwebs. I think nobody had been up here for 80 years, and it was completely full of cobwebs and pitch dark. I have since unblocked the windows. There's another barrel there, big holes in the floor. I don't know if we want to go over there, look through the end, probably not. It's actually lovely, the room on the end there. But yeah, lovely little view out to the chapel here. So that's back out to the main courtyard again. And I think that's it for the main buildings. Let's go and see what's on the other side of that door, shall we? So, through this door here, there's another courtyard, which must have been really beautiful space when it was built, because it's got a stone wall all round, and the most spectacular, what they call in Galicia, an era, or era, which in Spanish is an era, which is a corn thrashing floor. In Andalusia, they're round, made of small stones, and they do it with mules. Here, completely different. And I actually have the tools in my museum they would have used, but I think we'll save that for another video. I did try to get that off, but I couldn't get the screws out. It's got the lovely old latch on it, and these old doors actually matching the wood and the stone means this almost looks the same, which is rather beautiful. If I ever get this all restored and done, there'll be some demolition going on out here for a start, this shed. So this was all built in the 80s. This is the Aira. I've got a trench going across the middle because I'm waiting for the electrician to come. And this was completely covered. We'll have to do a back in time videos to show how it was. You couldn't even see it. And as we started to uncover, I said, oh my goodness, look at these huge slabs of stone. It's such a beautiful feature. And there was only a couple of stones missing here on this corner and this corner and over there. And I'm not sure over there if there isn't supposed to be a stone. And here we put one in that was lying around, but it doesn't really fit, just to make an edge. But we need to put to find stones and restore this properly. So this, although it's very ugly, it was an absolute blessing for me, for the horses. So it meant I could arrive, have a place to put the horses inside. It's been used as a straw shed in the past. For me, it's great. It gives the horses a place to be at night. Apparently there's wolves here. I can't see them attacking adult horses, although some people have said you need to put your horses in at night. But for the winter, winters are hard here, so it's great to have this. I've got hay storage in one part. We've fenced off a space for the oldest horse, so he can have more rest and extra food and not be bullied by the younger ones. And the fact this was already all fenced off and I could just put the horses in here is great. And as we come around, you see my tiny house, which came with me from where I was before. So, well, I don't know, come December, that'll be a year. And thank goodness I have my tiny house to live in, because if I was waiting for this to be restored and comfortable to live in, I would be quite frustrated a lot of the time, I think. So thank goodness I can be warm and cosy and comfortable in my tiny house. I actually have a tiny house tour video over on Patreon from when I first got it. So if you want to see inside it, you can join us over on Patreon. And this perhaps ugliest part of the whole place, monstrosity, is Oreo, which they use in Galicia to keep corn in. And apparently here, there wasn't one originally. I thought they'd knocked down. I think this was built in the late 70s, 80s, the same time as the straw shed. I would love to get rid of it. I'm actually using it as a chicken house. And we did take off, there were some hideous steps that were a mixture of bricks and breeze blocks and cemented on top of the edging stones. So we took them off and put some tree trunks. And what is here, these ancient stones at the end, which I thought was the old original Oreo. They're so beautiful, some of the old Oreos. And the idea was they're built with this overlap like this so that vermin can't get up and get in and eat the corn. But these stones were here to weave the big baskets they would make to keep the wheat in, which they are thrashing on the Era corn thrashing floor here. So yes, thank goodness for this space. It's really made it very easy for me and the horses just to move straight in. The end here, which I think was a garage going by all the stuff I found in it, I'm just using as a tack room, feed room, tool store at the moment. And that big wardrobe, which is solid chestnut, I found it was in the house. So we managed to get that out with 4 very strong men, and it was still very hard. It weighs a ton. It's all a bit of a chaos in here at the moment because I'm trying to reorganise and maybe make a private space for the other old horse for winter. I think we need to go on to a separate video to look round the land and the gardens and leave that one at this for today. So thank you very much for joining us, Live and Breathe Horses, on this exceptional not horsey video, and welcome everybody on the Mouronte channel. Thank you for joining us, and your support by watching, liking videos, subscribing, commenting, all that stuff is going to make a huge difference to us being able to get this retreat centre up and running so that we can offer a peaceful place for folks to come home to their heart and have a little break from the chaos of the outside world. So thank you for being here.